the background of the story of Purim is all about the Holy Temple. And many people don't really appreciate that the background of this tapestry, of the Scroll of Esther, is really a struggle concerning the rebuilding of the temple. The story of Esther begins with this lavish feast. You know what that feast was really all about? It was a celebration of the fact that 70 years went by and the exile was still going on and the temple was not being rebuilt. And all of the Jews were invited to come to that banquet. It was kosher. In fact, it was the highest level of kashrut. And all of the Jews were invited to come, and all of their leaders, they all came, and at that banquet, Achashverosh donned the priestly garments and served out of the sacred vessels of the Holy Temple in an ultimate act of contempt and indignation. And the Jews sat through that banquet, and the Midrash says they cried, but they stayed. All except for Mordechai, who did not participate and would not bow down to Haman. The purpose of that banquet was to humiliate the Jews and the God of Israel, because the message of Achashverosh was that there isn't room in this world for both myself and God. And there are so many midrashim and so many teachings that we need to study. The midrash about the Megillah Esther, about how Haman actually had a long-standing relationship with Mordechai, and what it was all about. And, you know, later on, when Esther risked her life and came to Ahasuerus, he said, whatever it is that you want, Esther, I realize it must be something very, very important for you to come without being called. Whatever it is that you want, you can have. Ad chatzi ha-malchut, until half the kingdom. Until half the kingdom, if you measure on a map from his capital, the 127 provinces under his sovereignty, till half the kingdom, you come to exactly Jerusalem and the Holy Temple. What Ahasuerus was really saying was, Esther, you can ask me anything that you want, just don't ask me to rebuild the Holy Temple. Because there isn't room for both of us in this world. And that, my friends, is the theme of this entire month of Adar. And, of course, the crescendo, the days of Purim. Adar, Aleph Dar. Alufo Shel Olam, the One. Aleph is the One, God. Dar, He dwells in this world. Make Him a place to live in this world. That is our goal as Jews. That is the goal of the Holy Temple. And the goal of Amalek in the world is to uproot the possibility of making the world a place for God to dwell in. And that's why Amalek, as represented by Haman, is the embodiment of all evil. Haman was not just another anti-Semite in a long progression of anti-Semites. He was the real thing, because his battle was against God, and his battle was to try to convince the Jewish people that all is for naught, to make them think that it's not really possible to live connected to God and to bring God's presence into the world. And this is why Purim is so joyous. And this is why the children wear masks, because there is no proportion. Everything is beyond proportion. And when you least expect it, there is the providence of God, even if you can't detect His presence.